So I just watched The Hunt for Red October. It's on Paramount Plus, and they just loaded it up the other day, and it made me think of potatoes. Hey everybody, my name's Mark. Welcome back to 2000 Hours of Banjo, a channel dedicated to seeing if me, an adult beginner, can learn how to play this instrument, the banjo, in about 2000 hours. All right, so what does The Hunt for Red October have anything to do with potatoes? Well, before I get into that, I just want to pause and say how much I love the movie The Hunt for Red October. It is a great movie. So if you haven't seen it, go see it. It's from who directed it? John McTiernan, the same guy that did Die Hard. Also, an epic movie, perfect Christmas movie for those that want to debate that. But The Hunt for Red October, you got Sean Connery in it as Captain Ramius of the Red October, the submarine. You have Alec Baldwin playing as Jack Ryan, Scott Glenn as Captain Bart Mancuso, the captain of the Dallas submarine. James Earl Jones, Sam Neill, Tim Curry, Stellan Skarsgård, like just a top-notch cast, just absolutely amazing. I only wish that there was at least one scene with both James Earl Jones and Sean Connery in it at the same time. That would have been super epic. And actually, just if you like Easter eggs like I do, watch Die Hard and then watch The Hunt for Red October. There's a couple of Easter eggs in The Hunt for Red October that's a callback to Die Hard. For example, both Jack Ryan and John McClane, played by Bruce Willis, hate flying. In Die Hard, Bruce Willis's character John McClane is flying into LA carrying a big stuffed teddy bear, and in The Hunt for Red October, the movie ends with Jack Ryan flying with a big teddy bear. There's even kind of a bit throughout the entire movie where Jack Ryan, who basically starts the movie on the plane saying he doesn't sleep on planes, is constantly asked if he's had time to sleep. And throughout the whole movie, I don't think he sleeps at all until the very end, the closing scene when Jack Ryan is passed out next to this big teddy bear on the plane flying back home. It's a great, great epic movie. If I'm going to rewatch movies, it's always going to be these older movies like The Hunt for Red October and Die Hard. I'm not too into the new movies these days. Anyway, so I was watching the movie and there was this particular scene that made me think of potatoes. Now, I've been I haven't done it since, but I was going to jam sessions for a little bit at the beginning of the year. I wasn't having too great of a time. I was pretty overwhelmed. And in jam session number 2, I swore I heard something and it made absolutely zero sense to me. And it was a term used for starting a song, how to start a song or lead a song in a jam. It was the fiddle player next to me, and she literally said something like, "How do you want me to start the song? Just do." And then she said what I thought she said was potatoes. But at that point, I was so overwhelmed that I couldn't even trust my own ears. I was like, there's no way that lady just said potatoes. So I never really asked anybody about it. I just kind of tucked that one, kept it close to the vest. I didn't want anybody to think that I was crazy. So I didn't want to ask anybody, what does potatoes mean in bluegrass? I didn't say anything to anybody. But then somebody put a comment in one of my videos saying that Jim Pankey uh, has a video. He's another YouTuber, if you don't know. He has a video that talks about potatoes. So I went, I watched it, and I was like, oh my gosh, this lady wasn't I did hear what I thought she said. She did say potatoes, and it's what you do when you're leading into a song, so everybody can get the timing right before you jump into the song. And it's what I started out with, which is, and you can do one potato or two potatoes or four potatoes or I guess however many potatoes that you want. So let's go back to the Hunt for Red October and what made me think of potatoes. And it's this scene where Sean Connery's character, Captain Ramius, is about to engage the Red October's caterpillar drive. This is kind of like the secret stealth technology of the Red October. It has a secondary propulsion system that's nearly silent. It does have a propeller, that too, but in addition to that, it has this caterpillar system that kind of, I don't know, I think of it as moving around the way a squid would move around, where it takes water, then it blows it out the back, and that pushes it forward, something like that. Anyway, the sonar tech on the Dallas, a seaman by the name of Jones or Jonesy, is trying to tell Captain Mancuso that he lost the Red October. They were following him. They had them on the sonar. They were listening to the Red October, just like following them on their six. And then the Red October disappeared. And so what happened, actually, spoiler alert, but this is an old movie, so if you haven't seen it yet, that's on you, not on me. But Captain Ramius engages the caterpillar drive, causing the Red October to go silent. And then the crew breaks out into singing. And I think it's the Russian national anthem. I'm not exactly sure. It's in Russian, so I don't know. But it sounds like it might be the national anthem. And there's concern because it's a lot of noise. But then Captain Ramius says, let them sing. And the funny part about the Red October, the movie, is back on the Dallas when Jonesy is explaining to Captain Mancuso that he lost the Red October, that the Red October was right there, 4,000 feet off the bow, and then it disappeared. And he pauses and he says, I thought I heard, and Mancuso says, heard what? And Jonesy kind of sheepishly and embarrassingly says, I thought I heard singing. And that is kind of how I felt when I heard that term potatoes. And I didn't want to tell anybody. It's like, I'm not going to admit that I just heard somebody say potatoes in a jam because they may think I'm crazy, the way Jonesy surely thought his captain was thinking he was crazy for hearing singing, when in fact he did hear singing because it was the crew of the Red October singing, of course, what I think is the national anthem. So that is how potatoes came up when I was watching the movie. Now, we fast forward to just a few weeks ago, and I'm attending the Wernick Method Jam Camp, and I mentioned potatoes to one of the instructors. And they say that Pete Wernick is the person who invented or created the term potatoes as far as intros to leading into a song for a jam. I did not get the full story of how Pete Wernick came up with the term potatoes, and I'm not sure the instructor necessarily believed the story, the way they were saying it, but apparently it's of the era in the right time, and he was a banjo player, and therefore it seems real enough. And that is the story about potatoes. Now, I don't know if Pete watches this channel. It's not a very popular channel, but Pete, if you do see this video and you are the one who created potatoes, thanks for making me feel like I was going nuts for a few weeks there before I was able to confirm that potatoes actually was a term. And then feel free to make a comment on this video on how you came up with potatoes, because I'm dying to hear the rest of this story. And maybe you guys are too. So join me in encouraging Pete to describe how he came up with potatoes. Anyway, just a short, stupid video today. I thought it was just really funny because I was watching The Hunt for Red October just the other day, and it made me think of this, and I thought I'd share it. I've got lots of practice to do. I will see you next time. Bye.